The stock market just hit a record high. GDP is growing. Unemployment is low. Economists on TV are smiling and using the word booming. And yet you open your banking app and you're broke. Groceries hurt, rent hurts. You are earning more money than you have ever earned in your life. And somehow you are keeping less of it than ever. So who's lying to you? The economy or your wallet? Here's the uncomfortable answer: neither. They are both telling you the absolute truth at the exact same time. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how that's possible and which side of the line you're standing on right now. Because there's a line, and almost nobody tells you it exists. Before we go further, I need to say something, because you've probably been told the opposite your whole life. If you are doing everything right, you work hard, you don't blow money on anything crazy, you budget, and you are still falling behind, you are not imagining it. And you are not bad with money. For decades, the deal was simple: work hard, spend less than you earn, and you slowly get ahead. That deal quietly broke. Nobody sent a memo. The rules of the economy changed underneath your feet, and then everyone acted surprised that you couldn't keep up. There are now, effectively, two economies running on top of each other in the same country. One of them is having the single best year of its entire life. The other one is quietly drowning. Economists even have a name for this split. They call it the K-shaped economy. And the moment you can see the K, everything, the headlines, your bank account, the feeling that something's off, all of it suddenly makes sense. Let me draw it for you. Picture the letter K. After 2020, the economy did not recover as one single line. Going up, it split. It tore into two arms. The top arm goes up steeply. These are the people who own assets, stocks, a home, a business, a portfolio. Their wealth went up, and then it kept going up. The bottom arm goes down, or at best stays flat while the price of everything around it climbs. These are the people who mostly own one thing: their paycheck. Now, you might be thinking, the rich got a bit richer. That's always been true. Watch how extreme this actually is right now. The top 1% of households now control about 32% of all the wealth in the entire economy. The top 20% hold roughly 72% of total household wealth, and it's accelerating. In just the last year, the highest earners grew their spending by about 2.7%, while households making under $75,000 a year grew theirs by just 0.7%, and almost all of that went to essentials, food, rent, survival. After tax, households earning over $130,000 a year are seeing their pay grow around 6% a year. Households under $70,000, about 1.5%. Read that again, slowly. The people who already had the most are pulling away the fastest. That is not a recovery. That is a split screen. One arm up, one arm down. A K. But here's the part almost nobody explains: why simply owning assets turned into a cheat code that the rest of the economy can't access. Because once you see that, you'll understand exactly why the headlines and your wallet disagree. Here is the trick that, once you see it, you can't unsee. When the news tells you the economy is booming, stop and ask one question: what exactly are they measuring? The stock market at record highs? Owned overwhelmingly by the top arm of the K. In fact, the wealthiest 10% of households own the vast majority of all stocks. Record home values? Top arm, they're the ones who own the homes. Record corporate profits? Top arm again. Do you see the pattern? Almost every single number that gets reported as booming is a number that measures what wealthy people own. The scoreboard for the economy is basically the scoreboard for the top arm of the K. Meanwhile, the numbers that measure your actual life, the price of rent, eggs, daycare, a doctor's visit, car insurance, those don't make the highlight reel. They're a footnote called inflation, and then everyone moves on. So let's put them side by side. On the boom side, stock market, record. Home values, near record. Corporate profits, strong. Now your side? Just since 2019, groceries are up about 26%, eggs up 84%, ground beef up 79%. Rent is up roughly 41%. The typical rent went from around $1,300 a month to nearly $1,900. Daycare is up about 39%, and 7 out of 10 Americans now say that raising a child is simply unaffordable. Personal savings just hit a 3-year low. Bankruptcies have risen 3 years in a row. Now, here's the sentence that makes people angry, and they're right to be. When a politician stands up and says wages went up 28% since 2019, they are not lying. Wages did rise about that much, but prices ate almost all of it. And for the bottom arm of the K, prices ate more than all of it. They went backwards while being told they went forwards. So both things are true. The economy got richer. You didn't. Because at some point, quietly, the economy and you stopped being the same thing. Now let's go one level deeper, because this is the part that turns the K from a sad fact into something you can actually use. Most people think inflation just hurts everyone equally. It doesn't. Inflation isn't a flood that drowns everybody. It's a transfer. It quietly moves wealth from one arm of the K to the other. Here's how. Inflation does two opposite things at the same time, depending on what you hold. If what you hold is cash and a paycheck, inflation is a tax. Every month, the same dollar buys a little less. Your rent goes up, your groceries go up, and your savings account quietly loses value just sitting there. The bottom arm holds mostly cash and wages, so inflation eats them alive. But if what you hold is assets, a house, stocks, a business, inflation does the opposite. When money loses value, the price of those assets goes up. Your house earns more in a year than you do at your job, without you lifting a finger. The exact same force that's crushing the renter is inflating the owner's net worth. That's the engine of the K. It's not a coincidence, and it's not a conspiracy. It's mechanical. The same wave lifts one boat and sinks the other. And the only thing that decides which boat you're in is whether you own assets or only earn wages. And this is why just work harder, stop being the answer. Because if you only own your time, working harder just gives the wave more to erode. You can run faster and faster on the treadmill, and the treadmill just speeds up. Which brings us to the most painful trap of all. Here's the line down the middle of the K, and it is not income. I want to kill that myth right now. High earners go broke constantly. Doctors, lawyers, people pulling huge salaries who own nothing and spend it all. Income is not the line. The real line is one question. Do you own things that grow while you sleep, or do you only own your time? Earners trade hours for money. When the hours stop, the money stops, and inflation shrinks whatever they manage to hold on to. Owners hold assets that ride the same wave, making those headlines boom. They're on the top arm, even if they started on the bottom. And that's the actual cheat code. It was never work harder. The bottom arm already works incredibly hard, often harder than the top. The cheat code is moving even 1 foot onto the ownership side. Getting even a small part of your money onto the top arm of the K, so that some piece of your future is compounding with the boom instead of being eroded by it. And here's the part that should make you feel a little less hopeless. It can start absurdly small. The point is not the amount. A person who moves a little money onto the ownership side, consistently, for years, ends up on a completely different arm of the K than someone identical who never does, even if they earn the exact same paycheck their whole life. The point isn't how much. The point is which arm of the K your money is sitting on. And right now, for most people watching this, the honest answer is that 100% of it is on the bottom arm, every dollar, sitting in the one place that's designed to shrink. Now, I'm not here to tell you to buy any specific thing. This isn't financial advice, and anyone promising you a magic asset is selling something. I'm showing you the mechanism, the actual reason a booming economy can leave you broke, so that you can make that decision with your eyes open instead of closed. Let's talk about the raise, the big, hard-won raise. You finally get one. Maybe you switch jobs. Maybe you grind for the promotion. On paper, you're winning. More money than ever. But watch what happens next. The raise bumps you into a higher tax bracket, so you keep less of each new dollar. Rent in your area went up that same year. Groceries went up. So did insurance. And within about 12 months, that raise that felt life-changing has been completely absorbed. You're earning more, and you feel exactly as broke as before, maybe more. This is the wage treadmill, and it is the defining experience of the bottom arm of the K. Your income is linear. It goes up a little, in a straight line, and only when you actively trade more hours or more stress for it. The moment you stop, it stops. Meanwhile, the top arm's wealth is compounding. It grows on its own, on top of itself, whether they're working or sleeping or on a beach. Linear versus compounding. A straight line versus a curve. Give those two enough time, and the gap doesn't just grow, it explodes. That single difference, linear income versus compounding ownership, is most of the entire K. So, if working harder can't win the game, what does? Because there is a door from the bottom arm to the top. Most people just spend their whole lives standing right next to it without ever being told it's there. So let's go back to the question we started with. Who was lying, the economy or your wallet? Neither. The economy is booming for the people who own it. Your wallet is broke because it's renting a life inside an economy that was quietly rebuilt for owners, not earners. Both true at the same time. That's the whole K. And here's the thing I most want you to take away. Nothing about you is broken. You're not lazy and you're not bad with money. You were handed the rules of a game that changed and nobody bothered to update you. Now you've got the updated rules. You can see the line. You can see which arm you're on. Which arm of the K your next dollar lands on might genuinely be the most important financial decision you make this decade. Not because of the amount, because of the direction. I break down one of these every single week, taking the stuff the headlines skip and pulling it apart so it actually makes sense. If seeing where the line is just changed how you look at your own money, hit subscribe. That's how you stay on the right side of it. And if you want me to break down the door onto the ownership side, step by step, in plain English, I made that exact video next. It's right here. Go watch it.